Okay, at 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Rachel.
Here.
Mark? Loveless? Benton?
Here.
Rickert?
Here.
Tyler?
Here.
Becker?
Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
All support.
Been moved by Chapman, supported by Pat, to accept the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the June 12th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Support.
Been moved and supported to accept the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Public comment? Sure.
On the chamber side, forum went very well. Thank you to everyone that contributed and helped pitch in. And thank you to the village for their contribution to the fireworks. We've got nothing but positive comments. Everybody was very happy with them. So
The best ever, wasn't it?
that's what I've heard, a great improvement from.
2 grand finale, one in the beginning, one in the end.
Yes, yes. Next project we're working on is Dog Days. We're looking at August 17. There'll be more details to follow.
That was August 11th.
Yeah, 17. That was a typo.
Very good. Anyone else? Move on. Lacey, you here for Scott?
I am today, sir.
Thank you.
So, after reviewing other reports in the past, we've noticed that actually last month was one of our busiest in the last 12 years. We've been exceedingly busy. We had 220 events that were handled in the village of Central Lake. 146 of those was handled by Central Lake, and 74 were handled by the other agencies. The second wave of ordinance issues were sent out. We had 51 sent out last month. I still have 8 left that I'm working on currently. We had training, legal update in Elk Rapids that went pretty well. It was pretty good information. We had both the computers installed in the cars, so we have MCT up and running. Everything's running smoothly now, so that's been definitely a big help. We had the car show. It went very well. We didn't have any issues with it, thankfully. We've been so busy, a lot of our time is being spent on the police reports and everything that entails paperwork. And we've just been pretty swamped, so a lot of our hours is going towards that. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Good job, thank you. Who's the handsome fellow next on your left?
This is my husband, David Milling.
Oh, okay. Sam?
Yes, everybody should have a copy of my DPW report. Nothing out of the ordinary on it. Pretty much typical July or June month. Any questions? We'll make it quick. Pickup's been ordered
What's the projected date?
for 8 to 12 weeks.
When was it ordered?
The day after the last council meeting. I don't give you a chance to back out when you say yes.
So we're 2 months down the road.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, item 10,
What is it?
picked up 1 deer on East Old State Road, doe or a buck?
Couldn't tell you, I didn't pick it up. I sent the guys to pick it up.
The new bench, the new benches down on the boardwalk are getting a lot of use. A lot of people sit on them, so they're next to head down.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Kathy, campground.
All right, report for the last month. Our Wi-Fi is now up and running with the new equipment. If I could just check it tonight up on the hill, We've made some adjustments today and it's working wonderful. We also instituted a Wi-Fi code that's now being given to campers for their exclusive use so that not everybody in town is using, a Wi-Fi system. A big thank you to the council for the new equipment, Rob Tyler's ladder and install skills, and Corey Hooksma for getting the signal safe and functioning. We have some very happy campers and a young lady that was able to complete her paper and get an email to her professor on time. The grounds are getting really shaped up. Sam is aware of some problems that we're having on the back hill with a possible water main break. There's a need to widen that driveway area with some gravel. We've had some issues with some large rigs ripping up the dirt and the sod there, so Sam's got some ideas for that, but that's nothing that's real important right now. We are experimenting with muting and turning off certain lights in the middle of our campground, because other than the Wi-Fi complaints, which now has been resolved, this has been our only other major concern expressed by our campers. That's due to the extreme lighting in the middle of the campground, because it's like a Kmart parking lot at night. So, again, we've got 2 that are going to go off. We're going to see how that works for lighting as far as ambient lighting. We've got some other options to use existing equipment that is on the lights, the LEDs themselves, that we can bring those shades up and maybe mute or diffuse that light a little bit more. So we're just going to kind of experiment with that and see how that goes. And finally, we held the first Thurston Park Campground Glow Parade. We had about 30 kids show up to decorate bikes, their pets, themselves. We paraded around the park a couple of times. We had music blaring and we enjoyed the candy afterwards. And we have already had an offer from one of the campers that is a longtime camper, says, you know what, if you'll get Fudgy's ice cream down here, I'll pay for it for the kids next year. So it's just been kind of a neat experience to have a real good positive feedback with some of the activities that we're trying to install. And any questions?
Is there an age limit on that?
Well, we do post the time and date, so you're welcome to come.
Yeah, Kathy, that was wonderful. I can't thank you enough for organizing that. I was there, it was well received. People were coming out of their campers, what was going on, and then they saw the kids zooming by. So,
We're going to try to slow it down just a little bit next year. We were on high speed because somebody had an electric bike that was leading the parade.
Good job, Kevin.
Correspondence. Dina Jardee from the Battle Anthem wrote us a nice thank you letter for the contribution we made that will go towards signage, which will be put up next year, if I understand the letter correctly. So, she was very appreciative of our support. There was one other one which I will mention a little later because it pertains to business that we'll be talking about a little bit later. Committee reports. Lyle?
I don't have anything. Sam's doing a good job as usual.
Lee was not here tonight. Bill, law enforcement?
I don't have anything that wasn't covered there.
Bill, where are we at on the slow down markers that we were going to look into? We started this topic on May.
Yeah,
And
talked to Scott a little bit about that this was the 4th there, and he's looked into some of it. He hasn't got a hard price on, he doesn't know exactly which ones he would rather have, so.
because
There's a pretty large price range difference there, but you can go from like $1,000 to.
I would like to see
About 400.
those markers, one on either side of the bridge on Old State Road. If it's in the
Right.
summertime with
Yeah.
the kids carrying fishing poles back and forth.
I watched
it's desperately
Charlevoix
needed.
this last week too, and they have them, and they have them too far into the intersection, too close to the intersection. Trucks can't make the corner with a trailer on. They
Correct.
run over them or push them over, or, so they look pretty rough already from,
Yeah.
they just put them out, they're already tore up. They gotta come back away from the intersection far enough for the trucks to make the turn with the trailer on.
So we're at the point now where we're looking at prices.
Well, I haven't talked about how many, and I guess that could depend
That
on the
would be a
price.
price.
Are you looking at, are you thinking about 3, or are you talking about,
Well, it's all predicated on price and MDOT. So,
we gotta go through MDOT before we can put anything out there?
well, we figured out what we have to do to appease MDOT.
We have not, no.
Okay.
We still have to go through MDOT on the State Street?
No, not on the State Street,
So,
just this one, 88.
Yeah.
so maybe pick up 2 for Old State Road for now.
What are we talking about, Rob?
You know, Bel Air has those slow down
Cones
markers
in the middle.
in the middle. They work wonderfully.
Crossings.
And we should put one on either side of that bridge to slow everybody down.
But you don't paint your center line.
People ignore center lines. If there's something standing up there, it works. You go through Bel Air, you see them, and you
They use it at
automatically
the
pump the brakes.
crosswalks where they're most effective.
But
Yeah.
Bel Air say pedestrian crossing, it's the
Yeah.
law.
But then if they move their crosswalks like they did, they moved them back off the current corners, then they don't have problems with it, the signs getting run over.
I'm just saying Old State Road on either side of the bridge. That's all I'm saying.
So if you had the crosswalks back, the pharmacy or somewhere in there, or by
Change the crosswalk.
even Fudgies, if you run the crosswalk across there, then you could have your,
Oh,
You can't change crosswalks in this stuff. You
Well,
got
you'd have-
openings coming out for handicap,
You got the curb cuts.
that's true,
so
yeah,
keep that in mind.
yeah.
In Old State Road, how about thinking about just putting up like a 36 by 36 triangular sign, slow pedestrians?
Where would you have it?
We could figure out a place to put them on speed limit posts, put them low.
I want something right in the middle. I want them to,
Okay, then I can't help you on
yeah,
that.
I want
I'm
it.
trying to help you, Rob, that's
Yeah,
all.
No, it's-
Nope, okay.
We've got under new business crosswalk signs.
Oh geez, I'm sorry.
Didn't
So
see that.
let's come back to this.
Yep, first.
Okay.
Moving
Sorry.
right along.
Moving right along,
It's all the Gordy Fraser stuff.
Matt Perkins, communication.
Nothing to report, but I'd like to thank the HS for getting pictures up of the
Oh, new
bike
business.
parade at the parks.
Good. Brian Patton,
I don't have it.
Rob Tyler.
Here's the breakdown of what Corey and I did. Well, Corey did it, I was just the guy climbing up the ladder. Why we needed the new Wi-Fi system. It was malfunctioning, randomly rebooting, issues connecting to existing network, needed to be replaced. The company that produced the access point has changed, no longer offered any improvements, particular Wi-Fi access point. Mission Computers asked to provide a new Wi-Fi system that could produce faster Wi-Fi, support more devices, and cover the entire campground. 5 gigahertz is what we got, and 2.4 gigahertz devices. I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but it's just, we got all new stuff. So, and part of the problem we had is, a lot of this is based on line of sight, we've got trees, and campers that are really tall now that we can't, the signal can't get through, obviously, an aluminum tin can. That's why we did what we did for the campground. Rachel went through, and we are, as of today, we are up 10% from last year in revenue. That's all I've got.
And the Osgood now.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Is out, is in the Osgood now, the campground fund.
And I have nothing to report tonight, so unless somebody has some questions for me, we will move on. Approval of the bills, prepaids of $13,412.34, payroll of $7,629.92, payables $16,144.93, for a total of $37,187.19. Need a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Support. Then moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes. New business. crosswalk sign.
As I said, we're still in the process of looking, we haven't gotten any prices or, any determination of where, what, or.
All right,
In the meantime, could we put up one of those electronic, and Hampton County has them, that they loan out to the villages?
Speed limits, and
Or
speed
the flashing lights and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we've had it there before, and
You know, just randomly put it locations, is that out on a loaner, or? we have to
Sam,
pay
you
for it?
request that, can you?
No, I don't do it, Scott does it.
Scott does.
Scott can request it,
Okay.
Yep, Lacey's got it.
and he has pretty good luck with getting it, so.
I haven't seen it anywhere else this year.
No.
So far.
Well, I've seen it all over.
Yeah,
Broad, on Broad.
It's been all over.
Okay, I haven't,
Laura
I
has her
don't
own.
travel
What
abroad.
do they?
Slows them down in front of my house when it's sitting there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I can also check with my buyers and see what I can get them signs.
yeah, because Bel Air has their own, I don't know what they.
Because then we can put it, we can keep moving it from by the bridge, in front of, down by my house, or the laundromat, and.
They're weighted, you know, them signs that you guys were talking about are weighted the same as the speed bumps that
Yes.
down in the camping park.
Yeah,
So I have real good access to all that stuff too.
so you can get us a price on it.
Yep, I can get prices on that, and get you pictures of it so you'll know.
Yeah, they got,
In the meantime, Lacey can.
they got signs that,
Pardon? There's a speed bump there, what are you talking about? You drive over it every
too
day.
fast.
I looked and it wasn't there.
I didn't put them all, I didn't put them all this year.
I'm going crazy, I didn't see that.
Thank you for not saying nothing, Kathy.
70 mile an hour, you don't feel. Catch an arrow.
Sounds like me.
Anything to do with crosswalks?
I don't
Signs?
think there's anything yet to report on it. Just that we'll continue to investigate and we'll come up with something here.
Next year, crosswalks and parking spots will get painted.
Yep.
It'll be a good year to put them out if we don't do it this year. So.
I've had a lot of good feedback on the new handicap parking spot down there where the curb is cut off.
Right by your shop? Yeah.
Yeah. People like that, they have trouble getting out of their car at the curb and getting a walker or cane or whatever else out there and then getting up and stepping up on the curb. It's pretty hard for them. They come out there and they can come up right on the ramp, right onto the sidewalk and then go to the... And only problem I've had is with some vendors, they just don't think that means them. And so it really does. Well, I'm only gonna be a minute. It's gonna be expensive minute. You know? It doesn't just mean sometimes, it means everybody. So, other than that, we have pretty positive feedback on the fireworks too. That was phenomenal. I thought it was great. It went off good. Nobody got hurt. Yeah, it was for as dry as the woods were. We didn't have any fires. We weren't right there on, so.
Okay, we'll move on. New business, initiation of marijuana facilities ordinance, courtesy of Kelly Young and her attorney. She provided us with the ordinance. I provided it to our attorney, Brian Graham, who's all there. And he didn't get this till Monday, but he initiated a memo to us today. Everybody has a copy of that memo. I think most of you have read it. Some of you may not have read it. I don't think Bill has yet, so we'll wait just a couple minutes and allow everybody to look it over. And then we'll open up discussion.
you go there, that speed bump, didn't
I knew where it was, and I looked at it.
Jennifer, all the bills are pretty very breaking. I shouldn't say that with people here, but
Yeah.
we're square on, from the DPW now, right? Okay, I don't have anything else standing.
No.
Okay,
Yeah, you covered the
Okay.
CCR and
that's all.
That's for both.
Yeah, the CCR and,
it was like $30,000.
okay, yeah, not a problem, not a problem. When we go on vacation.
Okay, we'll open up discussion. Kelly, I'll let you talk to us
Okay,
and
yeah,
explain what you're trying to do.
thank you. So, I just received the ordinance on Wednesday last week. And in a short time frame, I have 45 signatures so far in the village, which means that 5% of the last vote in the population for the village. I have an additional 30 signatures of people in surrounding townships that would like to patron the business as well. And I've only just started getting out, getting signatures. What Brian brings up are a lot of technicality, verbiage things. None of it's difficult to change. It's already been changed and is presently sitting in his inbox. What my request to you guys is that I made the regulation very loose, the ordinance very loose. And I did that for a few different reasons. What I'm proposing to you is to look to adopt your own version of my ordinance. Presently in there, I have a $1,000 licensure fee that you would collect. You can receive up to $5,000. So you have a carrot in there to adopt your own ordinance. To Larry's point a few months ago, if I were to go out and do the work of creating an ordinance and getting the people to vote, that you guys would potentially consider, and he of course can't speak for all of you, but I've drafted this ordinance in a way such that it will allow and foster marijuana and cannabis businesses in the downtown area. I specifically limited it to the downtown area so it can be easily patrolled. So I put some thought into the type of zoning that I was looking at, not allowing residential per se to be able to apply for a grower's license or whatever else. I also didn't put a cap in there for any of the businesses except I feel that there shouldn't be any more than 2 dispensaries or retail type of locations. Whether that one ends up being a bakery because the FDA and all of those things are kind of working themselves out, and one ends up being a storefront, that's to be determined. But the language in there is very loose. It was supposed to be geared towards the MMRTMA, which is the recreational law. And what that does is that allows for anybody who's the age of 21 to be able to go in and purchase any cannabis products, just like they could go into a liquor store. Also the ordinance addresses in there that the marijuana facility should not be treated any different than an alcohol establishment. So if alcohol can be within 500 feet of the school, there shouldn't be any reason why marijuana shouldn't be as well. So there's some things in there. I know a few months ago I encouraged anybody to reach out to me and express any concerns and how I would be drafting the ordinance and things that they'd like to see. To date, I've not heard from anybody, which isn't an issue, but this is another opportunity for you guys to make a decision as a council of what you want to see in your town. Based on the ordinance that you choose to adopt, if I still get my percentage of people, and the ordinance that you write becomes really stringent and difficult, in particular for me, trying to conduct business, then mine will still go to the ballot and be able to be voted on. So really, I encourage you guys to take a look at the ordinance, we can prepare it. You know, I've already paid my attorneys to, you know, put thoughtful use into drafting an ordinance, and then now modifying it to Brian's interpretation of what he feels is legal and what's not, because everything is still under an interpretive basis, while the regulatory framework is being developed. But I encourage you guys to take a look at adopting your own ordinance, capture that additional income. And for me, I would express obviously great gratitude, because I can't even apply for a license until November 1st, but if I have to wait until November 5th to have my voters show up to vote for it, then that just puts me even further behind the game, and I've already spent quite a bit of time and money investing into doing this the right way. Thanks.
The only comment that I have with respect to my conversations with Brian, and he essentially said the same thing that's in his memo, is that under your current ordinance, there's a conflict in the definitions of those. And he said if that were to pass, we would be under no legal obligation to follow that, even if the voters did that. So it's gonna have to be changed. And if you have already made some changes, is Nick Calkins your attorney?
David Rudoy is the one who's actually been spearheading this. Nick is my original attorney, but he's just been tabled to the side. So
Could
Brian and David have talked. I'm not sure on the timing of your memo, but it was after 4 o'clock today.
Okay, this was before 4, but not much, so.
Yeah, and so we should all have something in our inbox now from David with the new petitions.
What's
So
David's last name again, I'm sorry?
Rudoy,
you spell that one?
R-U-D-O-I.
One more time.
R-U-D-O-I.
And from my perspective, I'm relying on our attorney's opinion. Obviously, those guys deal with this a whole lot more than what we do. From my understanding, your only recourse is to put this on the ballot. And because we've already passed the no facility of any sort, as has the township. So the onus is really on you to get the ordinance to be clear, so there is no conflict with the terminology, and then allow the voters to decide. So,
Sure, that's fine, but so you know, you guys still have a right to repeal your opt-out, create your own ordinance, and to increase the amount of monies that you'd be getting.
anybody else have anything?
I just have a few questions. How many signatures do you need
5% of
Of-
the last vote of the election,
of the village voters or the township?
of the village voters.
5% of the village. You know what that number is offhand?
Our population is what, 800, just
Yeah,
under 900?
it's 800,
so
call it, so
yeah,
half of that maybe?
840.
950.
Yeah. And then, do they have to be village residents, or can they be both village and township? Because you stated earlier that you have X number of village residents and some other people.
They have to be village residents, but for the sake of bringing the council signatures to show that surrounding areas also are in favor. So their votes don't count, but for folks that are in favor, you might as well capture their names as well. Because there's a lot of people in a lot of, the surrounding areas that would come and shop here. They're driving to, Humblebee and Frederick, or, in Traverse City. Everything is not even open yet, but when it is, you still, even if you're 21,
So,
you can't get in.
I'm still, so, you're gonna have an ordinance, it's gonna look like this, and
Yes.
someone comes up to you, sign them, say, I approve of this,
Yeah,
but they have to be village residents.
they have to be village
Okay,
residents. Yeah.
that's what I was getting
Yeah,
at.
and I have 45 signatures right now,
45 village residents already,
already in 6
so then
days.
you're already over the
Based
threshold.
on your ordinance that you've written.
Right,
now.
right,
So-
so I already have one that I can submit and plan to submit.
That's what I was getting at.
And in the meantime, I have another one that's been drafted
All right,
that adheres to all of Brian's thing, and I have 21 days to finish that, or 20 days to collect those signatures.
So is this ordinance publicly available, or will it be, I guess, before November?
Yes, definitely be public, that's the whole purpose of it.
Okay.
So, got the ordinance, you cleaned up all from this, it's all cleaned up, you're out signing signatures, it passes in November.
Yeah.
What are you proposed to do then in November?
So then, you know, there's a multitude of business licenses that I can apply for,
Uh-huh.
growing, processing, dispensers.
Just, I'm not trying to put
Yeah.
your feet to the fire, I'm just curious, are you
Yeah.
gonna use the old, as you had proposed earlier, using the old,
Yeah,
store next to Brian Patton's Barber Shop on Old State Road, is that still what you're envisioning?
Yeah.
That store?
yeah. Most likely I'll be using both buildings, perhaps one for a
Oh, the old
lounge,
barber shop and the other one, okay.
one for a
Just a
lounge and
dispensary.
one for a, you know, so I'm not really sure yet because of the framework and the terminology is constantly changing, which is why I kind of laugh. I mean, Brian points out what it is today, but it could change tomorrow. So at some point, when you draft an ordinance, you have to allow for some technicality changes, otherwise it's just a, you know, it's a crazy rat race and can be disputed in court as to, you know, creating challenges and undue hardships on businesses.
That'd be just a storefront, is it a dispensary?
It would be a store, yeah, there's state laws within just allowing a storefront. You can't consume on site. But part of the recreational is allowing for lounges to be able to be opened up. But you can't sell any food there, folks, so it just becomes a smoking place. That's not something that I see I want to do, but if I could create, you know, I don't know, based on how the laws go, it's also very loose, and so that's why I put in allowing for cannabis businesses, because while there's only, you know, there's only currently 5 licenses available right now through the MMFLA. Once the MMRTMA goes into effect, which emergency rules did go into effect last Friday, that creates 6 licenses. Those licenses won't even be available to be applied for until November 1st. But by that time, we could have 12 licenses. California currently has 16, or they did last year. I'm sure they're up to 25 right now.
And then both those buildings comply with zoning ordinances and all that, it's far enough away from the school, the
That's,
library, or no?
that's the thing in the ordinance, it addresses the fact that it shouldn't be treated any differently than alcohol.
Yeah, that's what you said, items where I've written down, alcohol should
Yeah.
be treated the same, marijuana should be treated the same as alcohol, but I'm saying, well, if there was a liquor store there before in the library, which I guess it was okay.
Yeah, right?
So I guess that answers my own question,
Yeah.
all right.
So here's the issue, I apologize, may I have a
Yeah.
second? So here's the issue you were speaking of, possibly having an area for people to smoke, or, you know, if you could bake, something like that, possibly. The problem is marijuana, this marijuana, being legal, is being treated as OWI. So if somebody consumes it or smokes it on your property, they're gonna get in their vehicle and drive home. So now they're subject to the same, arrest as an OWI.
Sure.
So that's the only, I guess, concern with having that, you know, here in the town. Plus, on top of that, you're looking at security. We have me and Chief Barrett. Take, for example, last Saturday, we had a really bad call, and everybody from the county, including the sheriff, all state police, were all on the other side of the county. I was the only one over here. So if something bad happens, and I'm not on, and everybody's over in one place, you know, I mean, that's our concern, is we don't have enough local law enforcement here in town to cover, you know, that type of facility, I feel. So I apologize for interrupting, but I just wanted to, you know, put a law enforcement perspective on it and the concern that I have for the community. You know, we're already having a difficult enough time with OWIs, people drinking and driving a lot. County has said that a lot of people are leaving the bars and bragging about the fact that they're not going to get arrested and they feel that they can. So, you know, that's my only concern, is if we're gonna have more issues, so.
And the state presently doesn't even have a limit on THC testing for so while it can't be an OWI, there's no actual number that they can test yet. So that came out a few months ago.
I don't think that they'll be able to test for a number. It's basically zero tolerance is what my assumption is it's gonna have to be, because you can't have a level of how,
Right.
you know, intoxicated, I guess,
So-
with marijuana you are.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be zero tolerance. And we're looking at already having to possibly put people through drug school. And DRE school is very expensive. It's time consuming, you know, and everybody in the county or, you know, local law enforcement is gonna have to start taking these trainings in order to handle something like this as it is. So I feel that the problems that are gonna come might outweigh the benefits from the security perspective of it.
Yeah, and it also is producing jobs as well on the other side. So, I mean, it all starts to go back around. And, I mean, at this point, you know, it's really up to the village as far as if you guys want to be proactive and capture that additional revenue, or if you want to leave it in the hands of the people and how I draft the ordinance.
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I got a question. I'm a new resident to the village. Why are we considering marijuana?
Because it's been requested.
And what's the benefit of marijuana? When I grew up in the 50s and 60s, marijuana was well known as the gateway drug to hard drugs. So I don't see any benefit in getting into the marijuana. Now, I know that cannabis oils and that sort of thing can have benefits for cancer patients, pain control, you know, some things like that. But in general, it's not a good idea. And I just have a concern about the safety of the community and leading to harder drugs. We got enough drug problems here already.
And Mike, just so you're informed, we and the township have already opted out of, but we're following legal channels
Okay.
and going through the process. And it's gonna end up, from my perspective, back to the vote of those voters here in the village. If they want it, they'll vote it through. If they don't, then they won't. If they do, we're obligated to allow that.
So what's,
Okay, so the whole thing has to go through the legal
It's,
channels. Okay.
Unlike any other business.
Well, you know, we're gonna get more revenue because we purchased our house in 2018. So our property taxes compared to the previous owner are up 48%. So all we gotta do is sell a whole bunch of houses and then we more than cancel any benefit from cannabis. Okay.
And just a quick note, as we discussed this before at the planning, and obviously I haven't seen the draft ordinance, but I mean, this was, one of the questions was definitely what we already had set up as zoning for downtown and manufacturing. Kelly, what you plan on, or one of the things you plan on doing with that building, we assumed was manufacturing. That may have changed, you gotta have it read, but that's one other item I would say we, public comments, we look at the ordinance and see if it still applies to our ordinance, not only the ban on dispensaries, but the actual zoning and
and
manufacturing.
that's one question I have for Brian, is if this does pass, does our zoning set aside or not? So, and I didn't think about that. We've only had 2 days to respond.
Separate but related issue.
So, I thank you, and we'll move on. Action items, each year we vote on the MML's Board of Trustees, Michigan Municipal Leagues, and everybody has the candidates. Need a motion to accept the candidates as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Moved and supported to accept Devin Olson, City Manager of the City of Munising, Adam Smith, City Manager of the City of Glen Ledge, David Tosaba, Mayor of the City of Hastings, as MML Board of Trustees members. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 invoices from Gordy Frazier's. One for $17.50, one for $132.50, one for $180, one for $120.75 for services rendered. And the big bills are coming down the road, but
it's bargain.
it's a, this is a
For you or for us?
Anyway,
We pass them all at once, or we gotta go one at a time?
I think we can pass them all at once.
I'll make the motion to approve the bills from Gordy Frazier.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Just for the public knows, there was some topographic survey, site engineering design work, preparation for a permit application for the phosphate chlorine injection into the water system. Preparation and submission to state and DPW staff to distribute. And evaluating positive bacteria samples obtained by the DPW from the well. So it looks to me like there's 3 water issues and a survey topographical functions. Okay, roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Loveless?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Yes. Our water quality is fine. Are we still putting chlorine?
Chlorine, phosphate, still going. I got with Elhorn Engineering last month, they come up and went over the water, they took a whole lot of tests, and I got a whole lot of stuff down to the shop on it. Tells you about the iron as they're getting past the chlorine injection point, and I got all that down to the shop. If anybody's interested, you're more than welcome to stop down.
We need a budget amendment, number 1 for the year. And I'll let Rachel explain what she did here.
Bringing everything current. Workman's comp was up this year. I mean, most of that is workman's comp and all of the funds.
So we're taking monies out of the general fund and putting them on these line items so that they balance.
No, they come out of individual accounts, won't it, Rachel?
Yes.
They come out of each individual account.
The general fund was just over $1,800 had to appropriate in. The major streets was okay. Local streets, we had to do 6,500, and then all the others were okay as far as the monies, having money in the budget already for that.
Okay. Any other questions? Need a motion to accept the resolution number 1 for this year?
I'll make the motion.
Need a support?
I'll support.
Been moved and supported. And we're not spending any money, we've already spent it, we're just putting money there, so it's covered. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we're down to, yesterday we had our bid opening for our pavilion bathroom project downtown. 4 bids came in. Green Construction, I believe, out of Traverse City, South Arm out of East Jordan, Grand Traverse out of Traverse City, and Griffith Builders were out of Traverse City.
Lakeview.
Lake Ann. Lakeview or Lake?
Lakeview.
Lakeview, okay. Green Construction was the low bidder. Since yesterday, Jennifer has done her due diligence, and I'll let her talk and tell us what she found.
Well, thank you. As everyone remembers, the village was fortunate to get a Rise of 5 grant, effective the end of 2017, and that equated to $251,000 roughly. We utilized a portion of that, about $50,000, to finalize the docks last year, so that left a balance of about $196,000. And so we were intentions to use that to build a pavilion. We had a couple subcommittee meetings that comprised of, I think, Sam and Rob and Lyle and Larry, to kind of decide what we wanted that pavilion to look like, the integration of bathrooms, some site work. And then from that point, we created a set of bid drawings that we put out for bid and did get a very good response from all the contractors. As it stands, the intent for the pavilions are going to be, what was bid out, I should say, was a 40 by 68 pavilion to include some pavement, sidewalk, landscaping, electrical and lighting within the pavilion, and then an integral mason block bathroom facility. ADA compliant, there was going to be 2 unisex bathrooms and then a interior mechanical room within the encompass of the pavilion. The pavilion style was going to be what we call a glue lamp, which is essentially kind of a low profile beam, similar to what you would see in churches, things of that nature. So it was very, and then standard shingles. So it's going to be very, very aesthetically pleasing for the community. Columns, and then we were going to incorporate some CMU blocking halfway up the columns. And like I said, some outlet fixtures and things of that nature. So we put that up for bid, and yes, received responsive bids. Green Construction Group was a low bid. I went through and vetted the references, contacted, they're currently working with the Grand Traverse County Road Commission on Wash Bay, and then I also contacted the Leelanau Montessori Schools, because I know both of those references, talked to them. One was exceptionally favorable, another one was, they were happy, they'd use them again, but, aired some caution. Typical caution that you would have with a lot of the contractors. Make sure you review shop drawings, you're out there to inspect, make sure everybody's communicating with everyone, because with this type of project, we are dealing with a lot of subcontractors as well. I say that with everybody being aware GFA is going to continue to be involved with all the pay applications, working with Jessica LeVay, who is your MEDC coordinator, for payment to ensure things stay spanking compliant. But we'll also be out there on site doing material testing and making sure everything's built for these drawings and specifications. So I think that's where some of the caution will be at, is just making sure someone's out there checking them. And it's pretty typical. So their references is good. Also, our structural engineer in the office who helped me with this pavilion design, he personally has worked with Green Construction Group and had very good things to say about them. He asked them to change things, work with them. They're very agreeable and amicable to work with. So I didn't have any reservations to recommend working with them. It's my recommendation at this point, essentially, to kickstart this project, to recommend that you approve the project was bid out with 2 alternates. One alternate being the standard steel columns, and then the other alternate, which is the higher price, included the split face block coursing, 4 feet up, to provide that decorative appeal and incorporate the outlets. I think that would provide a more clean finished look for you guys. It is, $14,000 more. But at this point, what I'm asking the council to consider is to approve Green Construction for the alternate A for $292,324, but with the understanding that we do have some budget constraints, and we're going to be working with them to see there are some items that we can reduce out of the project to work within the available budget that we do have. As I indicated, we have right now a remaining grant amount of $196,000, which leaves us about $95,000 short. I've spoken with Rachel and Larry, and there are some funds that the village does have appropriated for the parks, so we do have some flexibility to work with. But there are some items, the way the project was bid out, it wasn't a lump sum. We bid it out with unit prices, so we have ability just right away, if we eliminate landscaping, we eliminate some of the sidewalk and the paving. And if, talking with Sam, he can do that at a different time. That right there saves $25,000. And also the pavilion itself was bid on a square footage basis. We could, reduce that footprint. And that right there, if we go with something, say, right now it was 40 by 68, but say we go with something 40 by 54, right there would eliminate another $45,000, getting us a lot much closer to our budget constraints. So you guys do have a lot of flexibility. But like I said, I'm not asking for any decisions as far as what to cut right now, just a recommendation to accept the low bidder for the $292,324, and then we would negotiate pricing with the builder at that point to work within the budget constraints we have.
Their list yesterday showed that it came up to 140. What did you find out?
They had a math error, and most of them were laughing. Contractors can't read specs, can't do math, and half the time I can't either. So But ultimately, what it comes down to is the pavilion price itself, and actually, it's broken out in the bid tab, a full bid tabulation, and they corrected their values. Their total value price was correct. It was just they didn't do their unit prices correctly, so they resubmitted it to me, which is fine. It happens. You can see South Arm and Griffin Builders also had math errors. That's what the yellow indicates. So ultimately, they were close to, if we go with alternate A, for example, their unit price per square foot was $64. So, you know, and that's why it's provided on a square foot basis for a pavilion, because the easiest thing to do to cut some budget constraints is just make it a little bit smaller. That's always easy. You still get the same effect that you're looking for, but we'll just, you know, minimize the footprint. But yes, everything's kind of broken out, so if you look under site, for example, we can eliminate some of the parking lot, sidewalk, landscape plants, a lot of those things I think village staff could do, and that would provide the savings as well.
Jennifer, there was no contingency in the rising tide money, was there?
That included contingency.
Do you have any questions?
Motion to approve green construction. And move and supported to accept the low bid of green construction for our pavilion bathroom project on the corner of Main and North Street. A bid of $292,324. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Chapman?
Yes.
Lovell?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Becker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll be discussing a lot more. We're at the end. No old business. Any public comment?
Mary, were you gonna ask the council about, tagline?
Logo?
Tagline. That's what I forgot. Hang on. You got it? Yeah, all right. Thanks. Our logo's finalized, but we're still struggling with our tagline. So we've got 3 more possibilities, actually 2 more possibilities. One of them's the same that we kind of thought was going to be it, but
We heard you, Lyle.
we're still, Center for Recreation still sounds like a building as opposed to a community, so we're trying to come up with something that would be a little bit more universal.
Center of.
Center of Recreation is one alternative, and Recreation Destination is another one. And Centered for Recreation.
Recreation destination, 2 words, short and sweet, rhymes.
We had when we did our signage, I had shared it, central to you, central to fun, but that's kind of a lot.
And Pure Michigan is the one that was suggesting center because of our central. What do they know?
Done pretty good.
But just FYI, I was at a conference in Louisiana, and it was actually the governor of Louisiana actually was there, was a speaker. They were trying to brand their state, and he actually said, their marketing company said Michigan had the best marketing campaign. You know, to look around, so.
My notes.
So there's 3 more alternatives. We're still open for discussion. Any thoughts? Any preferences?
Well, instead of your destination for recreation, it's central destination for recreation.
think?
I like it.
It's long, but includes the center.
Seems like the closer core of Central Lake, Pure Michigan is kind of, so.
Central destination for recreation. This is forever.
I know. That's why I keep coming back to Larry. I come up with a-
Nothing's forever.
Yeah, numbers are-
It's good for at least 8 years.
Yeah.
Starts to get tired.
Here's the quiet one.
So Central destination for recreation.
I like that, man.
You just spitball here.
That's all right.
Central.
Okay.
All the words are there, it's just how we're gonna place them.
Right.
The idea is there, the idea is solid. Oh, was that there?
Central Recreation Destination. That's a mouthful.
Central recreation destination.
It's got a float to it.
Eliminates the 4, then Central recreation destination.
Actually, I kind of like the better, you kind of modify his and yours. It's shorter.
Bel Air uses destination and Bel Air, so destination Bel Air is their tagline. But
Heck, yeah.
Just Central Recreation.
what's missing something?
So close.
I like Central Recreation Destination.
You're saying central recreation destination, how you said that?
Sure it is.
Is there a different word than destination? I mean, I know we like it because it rhymes, but maybe something shorter?
Central Recreation
Destination,
Location.
Sherry said, central recreation. That's 3 then. Central recreation destination.
Are you gonna give us the word stats, the letter stats like we did last time?
I'm good, yeah.
Three
That's
vowels,
3.
two consonants,
3.
syllables.
Need flashcards.
Can we turn it into a haiku?
Yeah, there you go, 775, okay.
Oh, underline that. Where's that little board?
Rachel, we got a board to write on this? There aren't dry erase walls, are there?
We could try it.
Dry erase walls?
Strictly dry erasers would be permanent in our house. You could do it, just be a lot cleaner.
I'll come down.
So if I'm hearing things correctly, Central recreation destination seems to be the
Or one location, Central Recreation Location. If we don't wanna co-opt Bel Air's destination.
Yeah.
Oh, central recreation location.
Huh?
You're saying central recreation location.
But I don't think
Oh,
it's-
then
I
we've
don't
got
think it's a
C,
neg-
then we've
I
got
don't think it's a
C.
negative if they have
Yeah.
that. They have that.
Subliminal.
I think that,
Yeah.
if nothing, that could develop into both communities benefiting from that.
Yeah.
Recreation there.
I really should take that picture there.
And they're gonna say we still have problem.
Probably.
Yeah, they'll get accused of whatever, so it's all right.
Been called worse but better, right?
Central location